Yo, GM. What is up, everybody? Sunday evening. We just had the weekly close. It's your boy Rapture. What is good, everybody? Check in with the chat real quick. Charlie Hyde says, "Hey, what's up, Rap? It's Chaz. GM, Chaz, how you doing? MM, good to see you again. Familiar face from our last stream. Thank you for joining. How are you doing tonight?" Ooh, bit of a market sell-off after the weekly close, but we'll get into that in a moment. Let some people trickle in as we get this underway. We got the BTC weekly chart up. We'll share updates in a moment. Just give me 1 second and I will be right back. Oops. Just a moment, everyone. I seem to be having a technical difficulty. There we go. There is my screen back. There is the BTC weekly chart. Just give me 1 moment. Let me just make sure things are stable. I had a little internet glitch. Just give me 2 seconds and I'll be right back with you. Okay, I am back. GM. How is everybody doing tonight on this Sunday evening? Bit of chaos going on in the world. We're not going to concern ourselves with that. We're here for the weekly close. Welcome to Rapture Scalp and Swing Sessions number 16, the weekly close, where we're going to take a focus on high time frame levels and strategy across BTC, ETH, and SOL. We might take a look at the hype chart as well. And we'll take a look at the weekly macro dashboard as we do every Sunday after the weekly close to give ourselves an idea of where we should focus our efforts for the week ahead. The days and week ahead. And we'll also take a look at my high time frame swing screener pro to see what coins, what tokens, what assets put in a weekly SFP, and if any of them have an interesting looking setup. I want to give a shout out to the good folks over at BingX, bingx.com. Use code Rapture to get yourself sign-up bonuses if you're looking for a new centralized exchange to do your Perps trading on. Bit of a small crowd tonight. That's okay. Let me get rid of this banner. And we'll pull up the BTC chart again. There we go. So we've got the BTC weekly chart. Still been trading inside week. You can see now we've done 2 weeks close with inside that inside week into a third week. Looks like we're heading lower. Maybe we're going to take out the lows again finally. On monthly, still waiting for that high time frame level that we've been waiting for. No change there. Charlie says he's hyped for this week. Any reason in particular that you're hyped for this week? Or just feeling good? I'm going to switch up this music real quick. Some Sunday night vibes. Sunday night vibe and music. Okay. So BTC monthly, we're still waiting for that level to get taken out. No change there. Although one thing of note, less than 6 days remaining in the month of February. And if we close below this level here, that is a significant change in BTC's overall lifetime structure on the USDT P pair, on the Binance Perps pair. Would be a monthly lower low and a break in structure. Weekly, nothing to update on weekly. We're still within that bearish weekly range. Got our weekly range quarters. Boom, 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 boom. And the inside week that we've been trading within now. 2 weeks inside, opening the third week inside. I really love price to take out the low on that monthly level and that weekly low, and then give us a proper swing long. Move over to daily. So we've had some levels marked out. Now, interesting, we're taking out a daily level here right now. Probably switch to low time frames and see if there's a trade available there. Let's open up right now because we are into that daily level down there. Let's take a look what's happening on low time frames. Nothing there on M15. Nothing really on M5 to work with. Like, we could say, okay, maybe this is a very low time frame market structure shift breaker, but that's a structure shift. It's not a structure break. And right now it just feels a little bit like catching a falling knife. I mean, maybe you've got an M1 breaker confirmed. You know, this might be an area for a long. There's a lot of turmoil geopolitically on the horizon right now, though, with things going on in the Middle East, things going on south of the border. It's a bit of a risky one, but there is a setup there. Let's keep outlining our high time frame levels. So back to daily. We're swing low to swing low. This is our daily range. It's a bearish daily range, bearish structure daily range. We've been consolidating and chopping within this internal range, right? This is our structure defining swing high to swing low. Internal range, we're taking out some levels nearby into this weekly range quarter. Just going to update some levels. We can pop one up into here. Here's another daily level. Fresh daily level. So on daily, we've got our levels marked out. I mean, there is a case to be made for this being a long right here. Let's go to H12. So H12 got a bit messy. This H12 breaker is no longer valid because we have violated the low. Looking like this level is not so relevant anymore. Get rid of that. Just want to clean some of these levels up. So now, what did we have? We had an H12 SFP yesterday, and I posted in the Telegram channel. And if you're not a member of my Telegram channel, Rapture's trade book, you can find a link to it in the description for this video on YouTube, or from the link in my bio on Twitter. And I posted this setup. I said, well, here's your H12 SFP underway. And I outlined this H1 breaker right here. And I said yesterday afternoon, early afternoon, I said, here's your H1 breaker. It hasn't confirmed yet, but this is where I'm looking for a short, potential short setup to occur. Well, you got the confirmed breaker when you close below here. Retest into the breaker, put in an H1 SFP, there was your high. And look at where we're at now. So the H1 breaker, H12 SFP combo did its job. Even on M15, this was your M15 breaker all the way up here. If you were paying attention on low time frames, when you set that M15 breaker, you had on M5 SFPs within the breaker on M5 after the M15 breaker confirmed. So all the signs and triggers were there for the short. I unfortunately did not take this short. I was busy having a daddy-daughter evening and not paying attention to the market. It happens sometimes. Let's bring it back to H12. So we had that H12 SFP. Are we maybe going to put in a daily H12 SFP down here? It's quite possible. I just want to clean some of this up because this is quite muddy. So it looks to me like we can get rid of this level. This level is no longer valid. This one remains valid. That one has remained valid. And something that I do see is we might be setting up a bearish H12 breaker right here. If we wake up tomorrow morning and this H12 candle closes below here, we have a confirmed H12 bearish breaker, which I would be looking for shorts up into here. But for right now, we're into a level here. Let's pop it down to H4. Let's clean some of this up. This is a mess now. Let's just clean this up. Let's clear a bunch of this out. Is this relevant? It was, but I think what we're going to do, right, what I'm doing right now is I'm just trying to clean up the high time frame levels so that we're not too murky and we're not leaving up levels that are no longer valid. Interesting, we're trading below that level as we speak. By the way, lads, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to drop them into the chat while we're walking through things. If you have any questions about my process and how or why I'm marking certain things. Okay. There's our relevant H12. I just even wonder if this is going to, if that is even going to be relevant in the future. We'll leave it for now. Come back down to H4. What I can see is, so this was our H12 level. There's H12 level. I think this level is no longer relevant. We can mark this here on H4. We also have another H4 level here. Oops. We also have another H4 level here. All right. Yep, there's another H4 level. Ooh, this is not looking great. This is looking heavy. Let's just zoom out for a second, because if this is going to dump, right? Now we have a level there that we're, that's the one that we're interacting off of, that daily level there, right? That's that weekly wick there. Well, we're below it now. We're into the weekly range quarter. It's either here or we're coming down here. And remember, when we put this in, when this weekly candle took place 1, 2, 3 weeks ago, and we front ran this monthly level, I was very vocal that I said, I think at some point in the next days or weeks, we're going to revisit this and take out that monthly level. Well, it's looking even more likely now that we're trading back down. I think we're probably going to find some short-term relief here, right? If we're into that weekly range quarter level now, the gray line, starting to find some support. Look at that. Okay, we've updated our levels here. I think, let's just see here. I think this, is that H4 level? Yeah, I can get rid of that. I think let's just clean some of this up. Let's just clean some of this up, right? Because there's a lot of lines going on here. Let's just clean some of this up. Yeah, like none of this stuff up here obviously is relevant while we're trading down here. I'm just trying to see if I can clean more stuff up just so that we're not overwhelmed, but it is still within the primary daily range, right? Like daily swing high to swing low, all those levels in there would still be within bearish structure. So this is where we are right now. So it's looking like this could give us a confirmed bearish H12 breaker, right? This was your swing low that created that H12 SFP. If this closes below and gives us that market structure break, this would be a very clean short on a retest. We have a bunch of levels in between that we can work with for levels. Come back down to H4. So we had this H4 breaker from last Sunday that ended up being the short. We can get rid of this now. Let's just take a look here. Is the H4 breaker confirmed already? I'm just looking at the lows, 486, 488. No, so this is not a breaker here. So the H4 and the H12 breaker are the same. All right, and we already had the H1. That was this up here that we shared yesterday before it was confirmed. Get rid of this now. Okay. Oof, that's looking gnarly. And that box has already been violated, so it is no longer valid. Get rid of this. Okay, so if you're down here looking at this, like saying to yourself, okay, I'm looking for the trade down here, you don't have anything yet. This is catching a falling knife. You could say to yourself, if this confirms, if this holds as a low and you get a close above here, then you're looking for a read bid into the box. There's no trade here right now. No, there's no trade here right now. But that is the potential M5 breaker that I see. It's just not confirmed. So there's no point in trying to rush this. Momsen Baby, or Momsen Baby, I'm probably butchering that and I do apologize. How long do I see the current breakdown going before next support on the H4? Let's go back to H4 then. I mean, I think we're going to find that this holds. I do think this is going to hold, even for a relief bounce. The alternative is all the way back down here. And I'm waiting for this. I actually want this. I want this monthly level here. This is the monthly level that I've been waiting for. I want that level to get taken out. And in the process, taking out the weekly low and reclaiming for a reversal. But for intraday, which I'm mostly focused on, I'm more of an intraday trader, you're looking for this right here to hold. As of right now, this is definition of catching a falling knife. You have no reason to believe that this is going to hold until we get evidence of it. We want, at minimum, a low time frame turn. I mean, we just haven't had that yet. Like even M1. Even M1, you need a minimum this level up here to get reclaimed. You might be able to get away with saying, okay, if you get a close above there on M1, you're looking for that to hold as a turn, but it's too early to tell. So right now we're looking for this area to possibly hold on H4. Seems like at YouTube and CT is waiting for retesting the macro lows and a slight tick lower before going long again. Yeah, I mean, it's very possible. I'm definitely in the camp that I've been waiting for this level. Excuse me. I know people that are calling for lower, like down into here, maybe down into here, this whole region here, and this breaker here. Like I know some people have this outlined. They're waiting for a retest into there. It's very, anything is possible. I just like to take things one high time frame level at a time. And for now, what I see is that level there, which we outlined, the end of last month when we started to break down. Barring some sort of massive geopolitical explosion, which, I mean, let's not put it past the realm of possibility. A lot of things are a little bit bleak at the moment, then we could see a significant flush out. I try not to predict things like that. I just mark the high time frame levels of relevance to me and wait to see if I get an interaction there and trade according to that. When a major macro event is coming up, do you adjust your bias ahead of time or do you stay fully technical and let price confirm post event? Are you talking about like numbers, like off the economic calendar? Like, let's take a look. Well, it's Sunday here, so let's see what's coming up this week. Not much this week. PPI on Friday. It's actually a relatively light calendar. I guess maybe you're more so thinking about what's taking place in with all the U.S. military craft mobilizing out in the Middle East. You do want to be aware of that and ready to respond. I mean, back in, I saw that on the news about the cartel stuff. It's crazy stuff. Yeah, like I was saying, there's a lot of geopolitical strife taking place right now. It sort of all seems to be unpacking like right now, right? Is this all cover for other things that have been taking place, like all the Epstein stuff? It seems miraculously timed, right? Just to distract everyone as people start getting more vocal between that and like the aliens stuff, and now Iran and the cartel situation. It's you can't ignore it. And as you said, you're down in that area right now, and my heart and blessings go towards you that everything is okay and that you remain safe, because it's not a joke, right? Like, I've seen some of the footage. It doesn't look fun. But do I let a major macro event? I don't like news trading, and I like to just trade price. I'll be aware of things coming up, but it's really easy to think that price is going to overcorrect or react stronger towards events than it actually does. And from my experience, just having the high time frame levels marked out and monitoring for how price responds into those levels is a much better um, it's a bit way to remain more level-headed. Because if you're going into it thinking, oh, the whole bottom of the market's going to fall out and it's just going to keep dropping, and you're expecting lower rather than just reading what price is trying to tell you in the moment, it means that people will end up late to the moves. I rely on very specific looking price action. I mark my high time frame levels. Like here, we're into this weekly range quarter level here now. Remember, we marked out this M5 box. I want to see price reclaim this. I want to see a close above here, and I'd be looking for a retest into here. And I can do this ahead of time because I already have a swing low that's printed. And now this price may trade below this, and then that would negate this particular breaker, this entry pattern box that I'm looking for. But this is how you prepare in advance so that when price is unfolding, if you see it come into, and I don't just draw these anywhere. I'm not just like, let's just take a look. I wouldn't be like here and going, oh, well, here's the thing I'm looking for right here. I wouldn't do this here. I wait for price to come into one of my levels. Right? That's why I'm so adamant and religious about marking out my high time frame levels, because I'm waiting for the interactions into those levels so that I can respond rapidly rather than having to guess or do the whole knife catching thing or FOMOing into positions. So I'm marking those high time frame levels just as you guys see me do here when I do these live. I do these on my own at 4-hour intervals, right? Like I have on my phone, I have a alarm that goes off for every H4 close, for every 4-hour candle close. I have an alarm that goes off, and then I just make sure to check the charts. I also have alerts for H4 SFPs and daily SFPs and a few other things, so that way I can be alerted. But I'm just marking those levels and then letting price do its thing. And when it comes time for me to pay attention, it's very easy to know where and why. See, now this is not looking great, right? If this violates the low of this box, then this box is going to get redrawn. But we're just waiting for the turn. I don't like to knife catch. Now, that being said, on my high time frame levels, if I'm okay, let's put this back. Let's zoom out to my battle station view. I'll put the indicators back on. See, now this is that M5 box. This is it on M1. I've had no real indication of late aggressive sellers into here though, right? We had some through here, but I didn't have any into a high time frame level, which isn't great to see. If this was really going to be a bottom, I would want to see this aggressive late market shorting into these levels, which we didn't get. That doesn't mean this can't mark a local turn, but I'm going to need more to do that. And what I would mean by just scalping the level on impact would be, I'm just trying to, okay. So here, we came up into the level, you had late market buys into the level. That's a scalp for me without having to wait for the market structure break. These type of moves into a level gets me on board quicker. In a situation like this, you have to wait for price to develop and prove to you that it wants to form a bottom. Right now, there's no indication of that. Like an M1 SFP below a high time frame level means nothing to me. We can check M5. Yeah, we didn't even have, you had some, okay, we started to get some indication of late market aggressive sells down into here. It's very faint, but there is an M5 large bubble there. Mostly crypto. Mostly crypto, mostly BTC, to be honest with you. Occasional ETH and Solana. I'll trade alts occasionally, but I'm very dialed in on BTC, and I just find it very easy to show up to the chart, do my work, and finish and go back to my life. I don't want to spend too much time on low time frames here because we are on our high time frame levels show, but this is giving some indication, especially on M5, that we're trying to bottom here. Right, you can see we had those bubbles into the daily level. Oh, now we've taken out the weekly range quarter. If we can start putting some price action in to reclaim this, give me an M5 close above the box, then I'd look to rebid. I'd look to bid on a retest. Or if more price action develops into here and we get maybe an M5 SFP after a bunch of candles have formed, an SFP of a low in here, then I'd look to enter potentially before the market structure break. But the difference between buying here and somewhere here on a retest is such a small percentage, and you're going to capture the actual move on a turn, that I'm not concerned about that. Okay, so let's go back to over here. Go back to H4. Okay, so that's our levels on, and I know anyone that's new may be looking like, oh, that's a lot of level. That's a lot of levels. So that's how I trade, is I trade these high time frame levels. I mark H4 and above. So we're talking H4, H12, daily, weekly, monthly. I mark out those levels. And then I just trade the interactions. And what do I mean by mark out the levels? Well, it's the swing highs, range defining, like our daily range high there, daily range low there. Internal H12, H4 levels. I'm just marking out swings, swing highs, swing lows. On H4, there's a bunch of other levels, but they've become irrelevant since we see that price swiped right through them. It's right through there. So on a return, there's only a few that I would look to be relevant. So this is what I see for now. Looking likely, I mean, we're still new into this candle, right? There's still just under 10 hours until this H12 closes, but if you close anywhere below this box, it's a bearish H12 breaker. A bounce up into there would be looking to catch the next short. So that's our high time frame levels on BTC. We're going to move it along to ETH and then Sol. This is where we're at. We're just about half an hour so far. Plenty of time. I don't want to take much longer than an hour, hour and a half. Let's take a look at ETH and see what's going on here. Okay, so ETH, H12 SFP, right? Like, this is why we mark out our high time frame levels. Let's zoom right out though. Yeah, monthly on ETH, we're still waiting for this to get taken out. Weekly would be very similar setup to BTC, right? We're waiting for that monthly level to get taken out. Would align with taking out that weekly range low with a stab through there. Give me a solid SFP or a close below on reclaim. And then we'd be looking to trade it back up on a higher time frame. So there's a lot of levels here that we can probably clean up on ETH. Like, I think I can get rid of that. We can move this up here. Let's clean this up a bit there. There's another level there. Okay. Bring it. There's your daily levels on ETH. You can see the, each bounce is beginning weaker though. I would really like to see price come down into here and see a solid reaction. Maybe go lower. It's possible, right? Like, there's a swing low there on monthly. There's a few other levels in there. But for now, that's the monthly level I've been targeting. Let's bring it down to H12. So That's obviously an H4 level. Okay, so you had your H12 SFP there. This is an H12 breaker. If this closes below here on this candle, this confirms this H12 breaker. We'd be looking for a bearish retest short. Get rid of that. Just clean up some of these levels and draw that across. I feel like you can probably get rid of that because it's so close to that monthly level that if it comes up into there, it's going to take that out. Right? The daily level. Yeah, we can get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Let's clean it up a bit. So it's a bearish daily range, just the same as a bearish weekly range. Very similar to BTC, just looks a little bit weaker. Okay, well, similar to BTC, if we get an H12 close below this box, that confirms our bearish breaker. Could you explain your previous short call on the higher time frames? For which? For BTC? Charlie? Just reply in the comments and I'll get back to it in a second. So, ETH is looking much weaker. It looks likely that we're going to come down here. Let's take a look at H4. So this is invalid. Okay, we had an H4 breaker that we drew last Sunday. You got the retest into it. Short. We can get rid of that now. This is the same H12 breaker. Just get rid of that. Is that an H12 level or a... No, that's an H4 level. So I think this I can get rid of. Let's just see. Could bring this down into here. There's another H4 level. Yes, on BTC. Okay, I'll come back to it shortly. Let's get through what we're... Okay, so look at there. There's an H4 level that ETH is interacting with now. Let's draw that across. Let's just take a look on lower time frames, see what's going on there. Okay, so similar to BTC, if you can put an M5 close above this box, would confirm a bullish M5 breaker off the high time frame level. It is not confirmed yet, though. So we have, this is still knife catching territory. Yes, that aggressive down is slowing, but there's no reason to get bullish here yet. Right? I do love the phrase, the saying, look for reasons to get long at the lows and reasons to get short at the highs. Well, we're approaching lows. I don't want to be shorting here now. I'm going to be looking for reasons to get long. And there might be one coming up, but we just don't have it yet. So we'll come back to H4. I'm just looking through to see if I would want any of those other lines on H4 marked out. And that one right there. Right? And again, I'm not expecting a trade at each of these levels. It's just when price, if and or when price gets to one of those levels, I'm monitoring for interactions on low time frames to see if I have a short, have a trade to trade price the other direction. That's the only reason why I mark out my high time frame levels, is I'm looking for interactions on low time frame to see if I have a trade into that level. Nothing there yet. All right, let's go back to BTC. You can see, right, we're still trading down below there. Yeah, no reason to get long here yet. It does look like this is slowing, and if we can get that close above, similar on ETH, right? If we can get that close above, but for now you might be saying to yourself, okay, am I shorting this as a retest here as a short? I don't know. I just think you're so far into the short now. If you didn't catch the short the other day that we outlined, I don't want to be shorting down here. The majority of the meat of the move is gone. Okay, rid of that. The meat of this move is gone, right? Like we had this short on the retest here. That short, the meat of that move is gone. Just checking in the chat, Jaguar Cat. JJ, what is good, my dude? GM to you. Thank you for being here. My ride or die day one homie. Always a pleasure. How are you, sir? How's your weekend been? Have you been getting affected by all the crazy snow that I see is heading towards the eastern seaboard? Okay, so far that's BTC ETH. Let's take a look at Sol. Let's open it up to monthly. Oh, well, if you guys were here during the last stream, this was something that I talked about. My multi-layered trade approach. If you weren't here, just screenshot that. And that's how I execute on trades, is I wait for my high time frame signal, which is an H4, H12, D1, weekly SFP. You got your mid time frame, which is the setup. Be an H4 breaker, an H12 breaker, an H1 breaker, M15, M5. Then within that breaker, I'm looking for low time frame signal. So maybe that's an H1 SFP within an H4 breaker, or within an H12 breaker, or an M5 SFP within an M15 breaker. And then you just layer that on top of each other so that you're giving yourself a high probability execution with the least amount of the smallest chance for drawdown, and able to cut quickly, right? Like the way that I trade is cut quickly and re-enter if the price starts to give me something that I can work with. So Sol monthly, let me move this now so it's not distracting. Sol monthly, I mean, it's a long way down, right? Maybe it's coming into a level there, but it's a long way down. Maybe we should just mark that level out. Let's just put that. What's here? That's kind of interesting, right? It is kind of interesting that it's holding a level here. But I do think if BTC is going to do it, I think we're coming down here, truthfully. So let's mark that for now. Okay, Sol weekly. There's a lot going on weekly here. Again, bearish weekly range, inside week, third inside week. We're taking out a weekly range quarter right now. Let's go down to daily, right? You can see that we're into a range quarter. Bearish daily range. It's kind of interesting. There's a daily bearish breaker right there. Missed that though. It's late for that short. We'll line that up. There's our daily levels. Go to H12. And don't worry, Charlie. I'll go back to BTC to talk about that short in a moment. So H12 Sol. You had a H12 SFP. Right, there's your H12 SFP. Looks to me like probably, well, that's probably an H4 level. Get rid of that. Okay, we're into an H12 level here now. Just like on BTC and ETH, here is a possible H12 bearish breaker, yet to be confirmed. But if you get the close below here, looking quite likely. The H4 bullish breaker that we outlined a week and a half ago. Actually, it was last Sunday. We were trading up here, and I said if it comes down into here, well, there was the long, right? You got your H4 SFP into the H4 bullish breaker, long played out. You're just playing SFP to SFP, right? H4 SFP, this is the H12 SFP. You're just playing swing to swing. Do I think this holds now if this loses? I mean, it's still valid until it gets closed below. This is a lot of overlapping signal, though. I don't really like SOL right now, to be honest with you. Even though it's been clean, right? Like SFP, this was your H12 SFP, right? H4 SFP. I don't really like what's going on here on Solana. This is just like jumble jamble. Let's go back to H12 for a second. Yeah, like look at this. This is just gnarly price action. I don't love what I'm seeing on Solana. And again, you know, if BTC and ETH fall out and come back down to their swing lows, Solana's going to follow suit. You are into an H12, H4 level here on Sol. And the H12 breaker has not confirmed because we don't have a close below until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning Eastern time. Just trying to see if I can get rid of any of these levels. That was a daily level, right? That's daily. H12. So similar to what we're looking for on BTC and ETH, if you can get a M5 close above this box, then you have a long to work with, right? And I know, guys, this chart is looking gnarly with like overlapping breakers. To be honest, I don't want to trade Solana right now. When it starts to look that conflicting, when you see that much conflicting price action taking place, I just would rather avoid it. You know, at least on ETH and on BTC, I can see clear trades setting up. On Solana, it's just like, look at this price action. Like a nice set of longs and then Chop City and boom. I know that this is following BTC right now, but this is just ugly. What is this? Right? Like, what is this price action? What is this? Don't love it. I certainly don't love it. I think if this H12 breaker confirms in the morning, you wake up tomorrow morning, and if this is confirmed, this H12 breaker, I'm going to delete this H4 breaker. And you can still play this for a bounce long, but I'm going to remove the H4 breaker because it would be less relevant to me than the H12 breaker as a target zone for a short rather than as a target zone for a long. But like I said, this is what you're looking for to flip. Right? Same thing. BTC, same thing, ETH. Flip these boxes and I have a long thesis. Hopefully those levels make sense to you, lads. Okay, so to get back to Charlie's question, can you explain your previous short call on the higher time frames for BTC? Okay, so let's zoom this back to H12. So, oops. You're talking about the one from yesterday when I said there was an H12 SFP and H1 breaker, like this setup here, because there was also one here. Let me change the music real quick. We've been listening to this for a while. It's going to drive me crazy. Go a little chill vibe. Okay, so my setups are very specific. They're simple, but they take time to recognize? Well, once you see them, they're very easy to see. I can show you several different instances here. H12 SFP, H12 SFP, H12 SFP. Even instances like this, taking out a weekly level, right? So let's just look at all those and we even had a long right here. There was a bullish H12 SFP, right? You can see this is a clear H12 SFP, right? Price goes above, closes back below, above a swing high. Same here, goes above, closes below, and within the range of the swing high. Here, went below, closes above the swing low for a bullish SFP, and here, bearish SFP, right? You can see all those are H12 SFPs. So let's go through. Oops. Let's start here. So let's bring this down. And that is right here. Right here. This is that H12 SFP, but we're looking at it on H1. We're looking at the H12 SFP on the hourly. What you're looking for is for a bearish SFP, you're looking for the swing low on low time frame that creates the wick of the high time frame SFP, that creates the H12 SFP. That's this right here. When price closes below that level, that is a market structure break, and it confirms the breaker. So within this box, which goes from that swing low to the swing high, this is the wick of that H12 SFP, right? This is now trap traders once it goes and closes below. So you're looking for a retest into the box, into the breaker as your short. And it can be any number of different signals. I can see we had an SFP, or sorry, a sweep off of that monthly level right there. I can also see we have an H1 SFP within the H1 bearish breaker. Those are all entry triggers. All right. Remember in Solana, there was a chunk of text where I said high time frame signal. Well, H12 SFP is your high time frame signal, right? Mid time frame is your setup. That's your H1 breaker in this case, right? This is the swing low that creates the H12 SFP. This is your H1 bearish breaker. That is the setup. The third layer is I'm looking for the lower time frame or mid time frame signal. And in this case, that's an H1 SFP here or an H1 sweep right here. And you can take that a step further because just like this is an H12 SFP H1 breaker, we can say, okay, I have an H1 SFP here. Where are we? Where are we? Over here, right? This is that H1 SFP right here. While we're looking for the same thing, this is your M5 breaker off of the H1 SFP, closes below, short the retest, right? Like this is that layered strategy. It just depends on how much time you can commit to trading and how hands-on or high touch versus low touch you want to be in your approach, because you can very easily just take the H12 H1 but be prepared to sit and draw down longer and have to have a hard stop and a better understanding for how you're going to exit the trade or what you would look for to exit if it starts to go against you. Whereas when I'm executing on low time frames, I can get a much tighter entry. And I know what the price action looks like that I'm looking for, and I like to be rewarded when I'm going to trade rather quickly. But just like this is an H12 SFP H1 bearish breaker, this whole box here. This is an H1 SFP M5 bearish breaker within that high time frame trade. That's how I layer. That's how I get my layers. But this is one BTC short. Now let's zoom back out to H12. That was that one right there. Right? That was that one right there. H12 SFP. Here was another one. So let's take a look at this one. There's your H12 SFP. Let's go down to H1. Here you are. This is your H12 SFP right here. This is the SFP. In this instance, the market structure break level was very, very wide. So in this instance, I used a market structure shift style breaker, which just means that rather than waiting for the market structure break, even though that actually did occur before you got the retest, so you could have outlined that whole thing, right? Like there's your market structure breaker. But to get the tighter trade, the structure shift just means that it's an internal structure shift rather than a market structure break, is the first swing level after the SFP rather than the swing level before, right? Like that's the difference. The swing level before versus the swing level after. Retest is into it. There's a short. Okay. That's the second SFP. All right, so far we've looked at this one and this one. Next, let's look at a swing low. So let me mark out that SFP so you can see it. It was right there. Let's go to H1 for a bullish SFP. Similar to the last one where the market structure break level was super far away, making the trade less attractive. Well, your market structure shift is right here. Get your H1 close above, retest long, retest long. All right, like these are the type of H12, H1 setups. Now we can go to the most recent one that I shared in my Telegram. Yesterday, I said we have a likely H12 SFP or a potential H12 SFP taking place when price was here. It was trading pretty close to up here. It was trading above and below, but I was like, there's a potential for an H12 SFP setting up here. And I outlined and showed, I said, here's your H1 breaker. And I said it's not confirmed yet. Anyone that follows along with my process knows that a confirmed breaker is a close below. You got an H1 close below there, retested into the box, even gave you an H1 SFP within the box, within the breaker. There was your short trigger. Hopefully that makes sense, Charlie. I know that was a lot to take in there, but I go through this process and these setups in every live session. So over time, you'll get to recognize them more and more. You know, but there was one high time frame short, two high time frame short, one high time frame long, three high time frame shorts. There's even one here. Remember I showed on H12, there was that sweep of that weekly level right there, right? Right there is, that is right here. This is that sweep here. Well, same thing. H1 closed below, retest into it. H1 SFPs within the H1 bearish breaker. There's your short. Right? And this is all fine and dandy for me to be showing you in hindsight, but the thing is being able to recognize them in real time. And that's what I share with you guys as often as I can, posting them in the Telegram, showing them live during these sessions. But it's more about teaching you guys to be able to recognize the setups for yourselves and not me sharing a signal. I'm not a signals guy. I'm not a signals sharer. I'm trying to teach you how to do this for yourself so that when the time comes, You don't need to rely on me. You can see what's unfolding on your chart for yourself and decide for yourself whether you want to take the trade or not. All right? So we are getting a bit more reaction off of that level. Let's check the breaker. Still nothing confirmed here yet, right? You could say to yourself, if this closes above here on M5, that would be your market structure shift, right? Your break is up here. This would be your shift here. If we just spoke about a few times on H1 for BTC, well, this could be your shift here. I don't love it. I don't love it. And the reason I don't love it is because we're trading well below the daily level. Yes, we're into that weekly range quarter, but the daily level to me is the more important level here. But this could chop around for the next several hours and may even be down here still tomorrow morning. But say you get a close above here, and then you get something like an SFP on the low, like a swing low SFP that forms somewhere down here, then I'd be more interested to take this before the market structure break is confirmed. And maybe it's going to do that. But this to me is still not where I want to be doing business yet. Okay. So we'll leave that up. And we'll come back to this in a bit. Let's come back over to this. Okay, so we took a look at BTC, ETH, and Solana for our high time frame levels. Monthly, weekly, daily, H12, H4. We have them all mapped out. We have a few H12 breakers outlined. Potential H12 breakers on BTC, ETH, and Sol. Nothing will be confirmed until tomorrow morning. Still quite a few hours until the H12 candles close. We'll take a look at hype real quick, and then we'll look at the weekly macro dashboard. So, put this back on H12, zoom it out. Get rid of this now. That. So, you know, M1. M1 might be giving you a long. On a move like this, I'm not really that compelled to be taking a long here yet. Look, you got SFPs into the lows, starting to reclaim some moving averages. If you're in a scalpy mood, you know, there are trades here. It's just a Sunday night right now. It doesn't really stream to me. Take these trades. At least not until I get something a little bit more high time frame. Just a little bit more high time frame. So we got that M5 close above there. You know, you could say to yourself, okay, my invalidation is super tight. And if it starts trading back down towards here, you'd cut early anyways. I wouldn't hold it all the way to an invalidation down there. There's a possibility for a long here. But maybe it's still going to come and take that out and SFP there. I don't know. Oh, screen. Sorry, lads. There we go. Thank you, Moonar. What up, Moonar? And MM. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Appreciate that. We caught it pretty quickly that time. There's been a few times in the past where I've yapped on for like 10 minutes and didn't realize. So we caught that pretty quick. Thank you, lads. So what I was saying was, on M1, there are scalps in here, right? Like you've had SFPs off the lows. It's starting to reclaim some of the averages. I just don't really, I'm not in a rush to trade this right now. We can see a difference in character. It was sideways, down, down. Now it's starting to go sideways again. This could still be hours though before it starts to go up, before it finds a bottom. Like, yes, On M1, it's starting to put in some stuff. I'm still not overly compelled. But you got that market structure shift on M5. It's still trading below the M5 averages. I think you have time to let this consolidate and digest a bit more. Maybe it gives you an M5 swing low somewhere. Maybe it's there somewhere that gets an SFP off a low that maybe you can is a cleaner scalp than the M1 right now. The market structure break remains the same level, right? See on ETH, same thing, and Solana. Okay, now let's take a look at, hype. So, still down into our weekly bullish breaker, into a range quarter. We're actually down into the daily range low. We had that long from here off of our, pretty sure on Thursday when we had our last live session, I pointed that this was the long, right? H12 SFP. That's the H12 SFP. There was your H1 breaker, right? Confirmed the breaker, closed above, back into it, retest long. We're now trading below that. This is now negated. You've taken out the daily range low now. Not quite. It's this close. I would just wait for that daily level to get taken out, to be honest. We're into the range low. You want to be looking for the long still here, right? We're into that weekly bullish breaker. You could come much deeper into the breaker, but given that we're into the, is that daily? Yes, we're into the daily range low. I would like it to just take out the level though. Just take it out. Give me a clean signal. Maybe tag that monthly level there. But there is a possible H12 SFP being put in right here. No signal. No signal here yet. But we're still into the area on hype where you're, if you're wanting to hunt the long on hype, we're into very close into where, if it's going to reverse, it's going to happen from in here. It's been a very distributive, slow, choppy move though. Back when we were trading up here, I was saying this is looking pretty distributive, and we outlined the weekly setup and said I would wait for the pullback, right? People were super bullish up here, and I said, well, let's just wait till it comes back down into here. We're still hunting along there, but nothing much has changed yet on hype. Excuse me. Again, into an area where you want to be paying attention to hunt along. H1 breaker is very wide. What you're going to want to do in a situation like this is, rather than use the market structure break, allow some price action to develop here on hourly, right? Multiple hours to develop here. Get a internal swing level somewhere over here on an hourly candle. Use that as your market structure shift for a breaker, but we just don't have that yet. There's nothing to go off of here right now. Okay. Well, that is hype. Let's take a look at the let's take a look at the weekly macro dashboard and see what the macro charts are telling us. Let me get rid of this for now so that you guys can see it larger. There we go. Okay. BTCD. Totally yes. divided by BTC, which is our inverse to BTCD and our barometer for altcoin health. The USDT.P dominance chart. ETH BTC, Sol BTC, Sol ETH. So what I can see on BTCD, this is not looking great. It looks like it's going to lose that level of that consolidating range, sort of breaking down. Did altcoins do much this last week though? Like you guys know me, I'm mostly focused on BTC and I haven't been paying too much attention to altcoins. Did alts do much in the last week? Yeah, Lunar's asking, you're using USDT.D instead of the Dixie. Yeah, about 2 Sundays ago, so not last Sunday, but the Sunday before, I started using it because the Dixies didn't seem to be having much of a strong correlation. And the USDT.P pair is giving better indication of risk on or off. Right? When USDT dominance spikes and BTCD is going down, that tells you that people are leaving Bitcoin and going into the stables. And last week I said I could see USDT pop up once more. I said it wouldn't surprise me if we trade further up, and we're doing that as we're seeing BTCD drop. This is not a great sign for the market. This is just telling me that capital is exiting crypto. That's something that last Sunday I said 2 things could be taking place. I said I could see a scenario where BTCD goes up because we had that weekly SFP. Meaning that one of 2 things could happen, that capital was consolidating into Bitcoin and we were going to see some number go up on BTC, which we did see a little bit of last week. Not much, but a little bit of last week. But I said the more troubling thing would be if USDT, it's a fucking tongue twister, I swear to God. If USDT.D started going back up while BTCD was going down, that just says to me that capital is exiting the market. They're just like, I don't want to hold assets right now. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. People are exiting alts, right? ETH BTC looks like shit. Sol BTC looks like shit. Total ES BTC, it's kind of holding firm, right? It looks like alts got less decimated over the last, like, they don't look great, right? They don't look great by any means. Right? They don't look great by any means, right? You have to remember, when we're even on a weekly chart, when we're that zoomed in, there's so much chart, right? But here, this is total ES, total crypto market cap. Blah, catching tongue twisters all over the place tonight. Total crypto market cap, excluding stablecoins, divided by BTC. This is my barometer for altcoin health. It's bearish structure. We had a bearish breaker that we shorted, that we rejected off of a couple weeks ago. And I said here, if you get a retest into here, you should exit your alts. Well, looks like that was correct, right? Same thing that took place here. Weekly SFP, market structure break, retest into the bearish weekly breaker. Weekly SFP, market structure break, retest into the bearish weekly breaker. Right, this is just the same thing playing out. Alts aren't healthy, but they haven't lost as much ground over the last week as other things. BTCD dropping though, while Solana looks like shit against Bitcoin and ETH looks like shit against Bitcoin. This just tells me, with this skyrocketing, and let's full screen this, like maybe it's going to come up into one of these levels again before finding a local top, maybe. I mean, What do you guys think when you see that? What does that say to you? What do those two charts say to you? Or what do these 6 charts say to you? Nobody wants to buy ETH, especially against Bitcoin. Nobody wants to buy Sol, especially against Bitcoin. People maybe think that Sol could outperform ETH, but it's not doing a very good job. Total ES, or altcoin health, majority of the altcoin market, it looks like one sneeze away before lower, even though it's holding a little bit firmer, even against BTC right now, right? Like BTC ETH is dropping on this current week so far already, a few hours old, and this is holding up a little bit, right? It's not looking great as a chart, and this is mooning. This just says people are selling Bitcoin and going into stables. And is this capital going to exit the market? Is this, I don't know. It's not a great look for crypto. Not to be doomerish, I just tell you what the fucking charts tell me, right? I don't care either way. Still going to be here trading our coins. But these two charts, if you're long-term crypto bull, it's not exactly what you want to see. Yes, we are firmly in a bear market, but we have been since September, late September. Well, yes, if USDT starts to go down while this is going down, this still says that there is a lot of capital remaining in crypto, that the stablecoin dominance is rising. But the fact that it's all coming out of BTC, how long is this going to stay in the market? I don't know. But it is ready to deploy. So that is the one positive, is that when the time comes, it is available and ready to be deployed, right? Like this wick here was 3 weeks ago on that big BTC sell-off when whales caught the bottom, right? But you can see that they've been offloading that position. Which is why, as Moonar asked, like I'm using USDT.D instead of Dixie now. I think this is a lot better as a macro chart for our purposes, because there hasn't been much correlation to the Dixie in a while. So, TLDR from here. Where do you focus your attention? I don't know. This really doesn't... It's another week of the weekly macro dashboard not really giving me a clear signal, which, fair enough. The market hasn't really been giving us clear signals, right? I think the only thing that kind of looks interesting to me is that this looks like it maybe wants to trade back up into here before topping again, which would mean focus on some alts. I don't know which alts right now. It's definitely not Solana. It's not ETH either. What we can do is bring this level down here. Maybe we'll get a weekly SFP into here. But remember, these are weekly charts, and they're also macro charts. These are not a reason to take a trade. None of these 6 charts are a reason in of themselves to take a trade. It's just where to focus your energy and effort and attention the days and weeks ahead, so that you're focused in the right areas. And what this says to me is, don't focus on Solana, which, guys, you've been here, who've been here this whole session. When I was marking up the Solana chart, what did I say? This chart is confusing the fuck to me. It's got conflicting signals all over the place, and it is messy, and I don't want to trade it right now. This is exactly what these two charts are telling me. Sol BTC and Sol ETH are telling me, don't touch Solana. ETH BTC is also telling me, I mean, if ETH BTC can put in a weekly SFP here, like say this week comes down and takes it out and closes as an SFP, then maybe we're going to get some nice moves on ETH for short term. This right here does not look great. BTCD losing that while the market is shitting itself. It's just all that capital is going into stable coins. So, you know, let's mark this out. Maybe it comes down to this level again. But you can see we're losing this level. You can see we're losing this level. So I'm just going to take that out again. Doesn't bode well at the moment. The market is in uncertainty. Market is certainly in uncertainty vibes. TLDR this week on the weekly macro dashboard. Nobody fucking knows. No, but in all seriousness, maybe pick some alts, right? That being said, let's do a quick look. Where are we at? We're at almost just under an hour and a half. We're just under an hour and a half. Let's go quickly take a look for some weekly SFPs and see if there's any alts that we can establish as possibly going on and have a run. If alts may be the play. I don't know that they're the play. I'm just telling you what the macro dashboard's telling me and what the charts are telling me. So we're going to pull up my high time frame swing screener pro. We set it to 1 minute because that's the setting it needs for it to evaluate properly. Let's take a look at, no, that's not what I wanted. Let's take a look at, let's start it with our good friends over at BingX. Let's scan their chart for weekly SFPs. Do a quick scan. Bing. Okay, so there are a bunch of weekly assets. There's a lot of them. Okay. Next, we'll sort by 24-hour volume. There is, okay. Well, these are all extremely low volume shit coins. And personally, I don't like to trade anything below 50 mil daily volume, 24-hour volume. Given that Bing, but that's Binance volume. This is BingX volume. The only thing that I would, and I don't know what the fuck ENSO is. So there's nothing here that I would stable, maybe. But there's nothing on here. There are a lot of weekly SFPs. I will give it that, but none of these I want to trade. So we're going to move along from here. Let's check out Hyperlisk. See what weekly SFPs we've got over here. Okay. Arbitrum and ENA. Those are the only two that I can see, right? Like I said, I like 50 mil volume, but I will settle for 30 if there's nothing around. So let's put ENA and ARB onto our weekly SFP list. Let's now check out Breakout. Are there any weekly SFPs? Similar, ARB and IP, but IP is a 10 million 24-hour volume coin on Binance. On the Binance pair, right? These are Binance pairs, even though this is the Breakout watch list. You guys have been with me long enough, you know that I will tell you to do your analysis, your primary analysis on the Binance USDT.P pairs, because it's where the majority of the market trades, and they are the gospel charts in crypto, at least in my opinion. It's from my experience that they are the most reliable. When you're doing your execution and your low time frame stops and entries, use the chart from the venue where you're trading. Whatever SEX you're using, whatever DEX you're using, use those charts for your execution. But when you're doing your high time frame analysis, meaning when you're waiting for your high time frame SFPs, your high time frame levels, even your mid time frame setups, like an H4 breaker, all those things, do it on the Binance USDT.P Perps pairs, and you will have a much better time with your life, because what might be an SFP on Binance might not be an SFP on the exchange that you're monitoring your charts from, even on Bybit, right? And it's my experience that the market follows what Binance charts do. So, and that, even when I was hunting shitcoins on chain, I would say back then, meet the market where it is. Use the charts that are most used by the most people in the market because they're more likely to be the gospel. Same here. Even more true here because all the volume's on Binance. We know this for a fact. So I don't want to look at IP. I don't want a 10 million. No. We can check lighter. I haven't updated some of these lists in a while, so I know that their volume is low. So I'm seeing stable pop up again. It's still low volume though. Maybe we'll take a look at stable. And then finally, we'll take a look at the orderly pairs, which orderly is a lot of dexes. Back in for a lot of dexes. What the fuck is this Enso coin? And it's almost 300 mil volume on the Binance pair. So let's just take a look. And what the fuck is... okay. Well, we've got a short list. We've got a short list of weekly SFPs. Let's go back to this tab over here. We'll pull this up, go to the weekly. Okay. This was from last week. Last week. Let's just see what took place on these from last week. Let's just take a quick look. Well, you had the weekly SFP. Just slow bleed down. Right, and I said if you get a close below there. Okay, so this was bearer, right, from last weekly close show. We were into this candle. It was this weekly SFP. Here on H12, I said if you get a market structure shift below there, you short the retest. Well, look at what happened, right? Close below, retest. It's just slow bleeding though, and I have no interest in this. ZRO, let's take a look. Weekly SFP, right? That was the weekly SFP. Here we are on H12. Similar, I said you get a close below there, you short a retest. We didn't get that, but now we actually have, let's get rid of all this. We actually had the H12 breaker after the weekly SFP, right? Close below, retest, boom, and it looks as though right here you got an H12 SFP within the H12 breaker off of the weekly SFP. This is how you layer, right? And you can take this a step further. So there's your H12. What do we have here, right? What do we show you? A layered approach. Well, there's our H1 breaker. In fact, this is your H1 breaker, which is even better because it's tighter. There you go. Did it retest after? No, but what you can do in a situation like this, when you've already got layered, you've got your weekly SFP, H12 breaker, H12 SFP, well then you don't need the breaker to confirm. You just say to yourself, well, I got an H1 SFP within the zone of my interest. That's your trigger. That's how you do that, right? Like you don't need to wait. At some point you have to say to yourself, well, how much fucking confluence, how much confirmation am I waiting for to get on board this trade? This is more than enough. Okay, so that's zero. Let's take a look at ENA on weekly. It's saying that it had a weekly SFP. Well, it's already trading below it. So, I mean, that looks like shit. Wow. Wow, that looks horrible. So the weekly SFP on ENA is already negated. Wow. 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 Remember when the ENA DAT? Holy shite. That just looks horrible. That looks horrible. Well, it's a monthly level. Let's put that as monthly. Yeah, it's not looking so great, guys. Sorry, and I pulled this up to show you potential weekly SFPs. So that was a weekly SFP right there, but we're trading below it now. Right? So there's not going to be any set, right? There it was. Damn, my screeners are good. There's not going to be anything here, right? What you would want to see, we don't even have a swing low, so we can't even see it. But an H12 breaker, say this closes here, and the next candle closes above here, and you get a swing low. This would be your H12 breaker, but we can't even say that because we don't know. So this is a pointless exercise on that particular coin. Let's take a look at ARB weekly. Same thing. Same, almost identical chart. Wow. Ugh. So I'm kind of going to retract my previous statement about the weekly macro dashboard telling me maybe to look at some alts, but there's nothing. So stable. Okay. Now you might be looking at this and say, ooh, that looks good. I can already tell you I'm bearish on this. And let me show you why. So let's just mark out a few things. Let's mark out some key monthly levels. There's our monthly levels. I think we can probably even give that one. Why am I bearish on this? I'll tell you a few things. I see weekly supply right here. There's weekly supply, and you just put in a weekly bearish SFP right there. Now we're going to go down to H12. I can't really do anything with that. That's fuck. Okay, so there's the weekly SFP. I can't do anything with this. This is ugly, right? Like to confirm that H12 breaker, you're all the way here. Right? Like that's your H12 breaker. That's so long. You're missing most of the trade at that point. So we're not going to use that. Let's go to H4, see what we've got. Here we go. You get an H4 close below this, confirm the H4 breaker, you can short on a retest. The other thing you could do is, like how I was saying, whatever the other coin was, I was saying, was it DYOR? When I said you don't need to wait for the third layer to confirm the breaker, you can just take an SFP. Well, if you get something in here, like an H4 SFP in here somewhere, like say it comes up into here and you get an H4 SFP. Or here, right? Like just do the same thing that we do on BTC ETH and SOL, where we mark out our H4 levels. If you get something into one of those, there's a short trigger. But yeah, this looks barouche. This looks bearish to me. And it is a bearish weekly SFP. And there's a monthly level that it's hugging here, but it may lose that. So, yeah, weekly supply, weekly bearish SFP, waiting for it to confirm the H4 breaker, close below there. And you can see how important that level is, right? I don't even need this though to tell me that this is the breaker. This is the swing low that creates the weekly SFP. Simple as. We can go to H1 and see. H1's already confirmed. Yeah, the H1 breaker is already confirmed when you close below here. And you even got, there's that, right? Okay. So there it is on H4. Here's H1. What am I seeing? What do I see here? Here is your H1 bearish breaker. Here was your H1 SFP after the retest. After it confirmed the H1 breaker by closing below, you've had a few chances, but there was an H1 breaker within H1 SFP within the breaker. Take the trade off of that SFP, right? Now we're hindsighting here now. But you're looking for triggers to short now. Anywhere in here, you're looking for triggers to short. Preferably an H4 SFP now, because given how choppy it's been. But you'll take another H1 SFP if that's all it's going to give you. All right? If it's all it's going to give you is an H1 SFP, then take it. Okay, that's stable. I don't know what the hell ENSO is. That's, wow. Okay, good for it. Well, here's your weekly SFP. Here's your weekly SFP. It's holding weekly supply. Close below this, and there's your H4 breaker. Close below that, and there's your H4 breaker. Oops. Close below that, and there's your H4 breaker. See how it's hugging it, right, though? People are trying to save it. Close below there, there's your H4 breaker. I don't know what the hell this is. I don't know. Remember on Binance it had huge, this just screams crime. Let's take a look at bio. Okay, so this was actually, it barely wicked it though. Barely wicked it. It did though. You can see it did. It just barely wicked it. Okay, let's see. Let's just mark out some key levels here. Looks pretty awful. Looks pretty awful. But it did weekly SFP there. Oh, okay. So there you go. We're into an H12 breaker right now. Right? Swing high that created the wick of the weekly SFP on H12, flipped it with a market structure break into the H12 breaker. So this is a weekly SFP H12 bullish breaker setup. Now you're just looking for the low time frames to realign with your thesis that this is a long. I don't know if it is. This coin looks pretty dead, and bio is when sort of DeSci was popular a little over a year ago, year and a half ago. I don't know, but there's a setup here. This could just be an exit pump though. So I don't know. I don't love any of these, to be honest with you. I don't love any of them, but that is what it is. I can't control what the market gives me. I just call it like I see it. Okay, lads. Well, let's take a look at lighter real quick. So many people were getting bullish on this coin. I just kept saying, I don't know. Range low, range high, range low, range high, range low. We're back up into the range high. I was like, maybe we're going to trade back down to the range low. Boom. Yeah, well, there it is. There she blows. I don't know. Just remain objective. Don't become subjective. Just remain objective. Okay, well, hype is into that daily range low now. So you're hoping that it's going to hold here. Is BTC dumping right now though? Because this is looking like shit. Let's finish up looking at BTC and then we'll wrap it up. We're still into that weekly range quarter level. Let's go back to M5. Your thesis is this holds. I would still prefer to actually get the market structure break though. You can see that once we got that market structure shift, it started to trend higher. Do we have anything on M15? Right, and you SFPing of an M15 there. Maybe it's going to take out the low one more time. Something that's happened recently after the sell-offs is you've had a retest of the M15 level. Right, like here. We sold off Thursday morning, put in a low, and then took out the low before the reversal, right? And I shared this long. I shared this long with you guys on Thursday. So it's the same thing that we're looking for here, right? Are we going to get an M15 breaker? Typically, we've been taking out the low one more time. But as of right now, yeah, I'd rather wait until tomorrow morning to take a trade, to be honest with you guys. Especially given all the uncertainty. And Momsen, baby, I apologize if I'm butchering the fuck out of that. I really do apologize. I hope you stay safe in Mexico where all that craziness is taking place. Everyone else that joined in live, I do appreciate each and every one of you. We have our outlines, we have our strategy and plans for the days ahead. All right, we have our levels marked. We looked at BTC, ETH, SOL, HYPE. We looked at the weekly macro dashboard, which is in a state of uncertainty. We don't know. It's telling us what we can already sense from the market. It doesn't know what the fuck is going on right now. And that corroborates how I've been feeling inside, is that the market is very uncertain. But you know how we alleviate the uncertainty is we just trade our high time frame levels. Mark them out, trade the interactions. We have potential H12 breakers on BTC, on ETH, and on Solana. One thing I can see is I need to switch that to an H4. Let's switch the time frame on that. There we go. There we go. Yeah, we have our breakers. ETH, SOL, BTC. They are not confirmed yet. Just under 9 hours to go until the H12 candle closes. But if it closes and confirms these as breakers, any bounce from here, we are looking to short a move into here. Doesn't mean we can't take the long here. I just don't see the long yet. I just don't see the long yet. This to me isn't enough right now. It could just keep trading up and that's fine. I just don't see the long personally yet. I like at least a level of confirmation, and this little market structure shift here really isn't enough. You can see how we rejected right off of that daily level, right? So give me that, flip the box, and I will be more open and inclined to taking the long. H4 SFP, quite likely. But remember, this is a weekly range quarter level. There's no actual swing low. That's here. This is just a weekly range quarter level that we look for interactions off of, but I still need something a little bit more. Lads, this has been Rapture's Scalp and Swing Sessions number 16, the weekly close show. We looked at our high time frame levels. We discussed strategy across BTC, ETH, SOL, HYPE, and a few other shit coins for the days and weeks ahead. We looked at the weekly macro dashboard, which was really not telling us too much this week, unfortunately. We looked at some weekly SFPs using my high time frame swing screener pro. And don't forget to join BingX using code Rapture if you're looking for a new exchange to trade perps on. It's got a lot of high leverage, although I only recommend using 10x at most. But you're going to do what you're going to do. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I wish you all a very good week and days ahead. We will do our next live session in a few days with more emphasis on low time frame execution. Maybe we'll do a couple live trade setups where we see them. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Helps me know that you are appreciating what I'm doing here. Help me grow the channel. And on that, this is Rapture signing off. Ciao.